What's going on, guys? It's Mark with Anastacio. I'm here with my partner James. Today I want to demonstrate for you guys some disarming techniques that we can do from what I like to call the transition block. So there's a couple of things when it comes to the transition block. Basically, it's an accelerated version of an angle one. So we're under the premise that my strike is my block and my block is my strike. But if I want to disarm, I want to be offensive and I want to control the pace of our interaction. Because if James wanted to swing at full contact and I decided to block, there's no way I'll be able to stop it. I either have to jam his strike or pass it. So that means that I never let it happen, or I stop it prematurely, or I let the strike happen and I just redirect it or reposition myself. So if I'm looking to create the disarm, I'm going to strike my angle one with body language like I'm going to follow through, and I cause him to defend. Okay? So this would be our reference point. So if I develop the skills and the attributes to create that reference point, now I apply the transition block, which is more so like a transition strike. So basically what I'm doing is I'm striking through the stick to allow my stick to go from the top position to the bottom position, and normally it'd be clipped around my waist or somewhere towards my body, but basically I want to get his stick out here and not have my stick on top. Okay? So we're transitioning our position. When I do that, I strike and I immediately check the hand wherever I can and then create connection. Ideally, I'd like to grab towards the meat of the thumb. Sometimes it's the wrist. Whatever it might be, we find our way to the meat of the thumb here. Okay? So our first disarm is going to be what we call a striking disarm. Okay? So the striking disarm, basically I use any joint that I have, be it my knuckles, my wrist, my elbow, my shoulder, and I'm basically hitting it out. So the way I do that, once I grab here, I'm actually going to bring my hand down across the stick, and I'm going to come back with my hooking section in replace or substituting my left hand. So it's going to look like this, and I'm going to create tension. So I'm pulling the stick as I'm pushing with my hooking section into his wrist, getting good, strong connection. I'm going to roll my stick forward to expose the wrist, step in, I'm going to elbow, push, twist, as I bring it all the way around, and then get the stick out. Okay, so transition, substitute, expose the wrist, step in, push, pull, and twist. If I wanted to be really mean to my partner, I could literally hit it out of his hand. But as long as I get the pushing motion from the strike, that should be enough on top of my pull and my twist to eventually go away from his grip, and then it's going to pop out, right? That way I can train with my partner over and over and over again, and they're not going to complain about a broken hand. So, angle one, or what we call the transition, stretch, roll, bend the elbow, pull the stick, twist your body, get the disarm. Okay. So that's technique number one. Number two, we're going to look at a push and pull, or basically we call it like an ejection disarm. So we're trying to maintain the posture of the hand, but subtract the stick from my opponent's grip. So there's a couple of ways we can do that. The first way we're going to show this is what we call the inverted push and pull. Okay, so from this position, we grab onto the meat of the thumb. We're going to rotate to the right so that the pinky side is up on James. I'm going to have my hooking section, which is already underneath, below my left shoulder. I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to use my wrist to push against the stick. Now, in order for this disarm to work, I can't attack this. Because if I attack this, this is actually going to go all the way up, and it's going to flick in one of our faces. Right? It's going to be very, very calm to the point where it's just going to kind of like gracefully come out that way. In the event that I get into this position and I can't get the disarm, maybe I do it, but then he's holding it by the pointer and the thumb, and it's just kind of stuck there. There's various ways you can apply this leverage. You could do it with the knee. Okay, you can kind of just pop it out that way. I could drive a lot harder with my knee, or rather the inside of my thigh. So it'll look something like this. I bring that down, I lift, and I just pull his hand away from the stick rather than hitting him with my knee. It's much stronger, much thicker. So when I do this, I just kind of pull the arm and then out it goes. An alternate way is I can pull this up across the side of my body here, and then again pull his arm from right to left and pop it out that way. So it's very, very nonchalant in its own right. It's not like a striking disarm where I kind of hammer it out, but it's based off of the leverage I can create against the weakness of his grip. Okay, so our last technique that we're going to do, okay, when we do the transition strike here, Okay? Sometimes we use that to, again, accelerate that angle 1. So we're going to actually use this as a shortcut into what we call the inside vine or the full circle disarm. So without the transition, it would look like this reference point, and then I would proceed to go in with my safety hand, draw my circle, align wrist to wrist, come up, and then from here I would slam it down to get the stick out. Okay, so you can see the vine is constricting the stick, getting him into a submissive position, and then all that's left is to apply the leverage. So, to speed that up, I transition, I grab, and as I twist this down, almost like I'm going for the inverted push and pull, I just shoot my hand inside, come back to realign, and then from here, I disarm, and then follow up with my strikes. Okay? So again, transition, grab, shoot my elbow, okay, so not my wrist to wrist where naturally it would be. I'm going to shoot my elbow so I know I have it for sure, and that's going to cause a little bit of a base manipulation or an off balance here. Then when I come back, that's when I line up. I relax just enough that my wrist can go to my partner's wrist, apply the pressure, make sure it's in the position I need it to be, the grip starting to break. I chamber my stick so I'm ready for a follow-up, and then I slam straight down, and then I can follow up with an angle 1 perfectly. Okay, so the transition strike or the transition block, it's very, very effective when you know the body position, when you know the timing, and you're able to expose that stick out there. If in case you do your angle 1 and you want to go use a transition strike, but you also don't want to hit your partner, if that's a factor, then your angle 1 becomes a little bit more condensed. As opposed to reaching out to your partner, you kind of do it more towards inside, almost like it's a corto technique or a close range technique. So that means my elbow's pinched in, and I'm kind of pinching it to make sure that that doesn't follow through on my partner's head. And then I can follow up in case that stick doesn't come up or I don't get that reference point that I was looking to create. So if you guys enjoyed the techniques, make sure you comment below and give this video a thumbs up. Check us out, AnastacioKhalid.com. You can train with us online, $50 per month, no commitment necessary. It's all in our schedule that we teach throughout the weeks here at Union Martial Arts, our HQ. So if you want to train with myself, train with my partner James, train with our other instructors, make sure you guys give that a try. Until next time, catch you guys then.